Okay, time for another question. So let's reach in here, pull one out. Here we go. Got one. All right, got one. All right. Okay, unfolding it, we get. Turn right side up. Do I need to buy whole Bitcoin? Short answer is no. Okay. The reason you don't have to buy whole Bitcoin is because there are things called Satoshis. And Satoshis are just, it's named after Satoshi Nakamoto. Go back and look at the video about who created Bitcoin. That's the name attributed to the founder of Bitcoin. And to honor him, they made the smallest unit of a Bitcoin a Satoshi. And that is, there's 100 million Satoshis because there's 8 decimal places. I wish they'd used 9. I wish they'd used 6 or 9 so that we could say a million or a billion. But no, there's 100 million Satoshis that make up one Bitcoin. But the simplest thing to answer for a $100,000 Bitcoin, 100 Satoshis is about a penny. So there you have it. So that makes it pretty easy to remember. Well, actually, I think it's a dime. I'm sorry, I think it was off there on the math. So you can buy 20 bucks, 40 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever on Cash App. As I mentioned earlier, one way to buy, very easy way to get started is to buy with Cash App. You can also dollar cost average on many different websites. So you can do it on Coinbase. I don't really recommend them anymore, but like you can do it with Strike. You can do it with River. There's lots of them out there where you could just dollar cost average and buy every so often. And that way, by dollar cost averaging, you're putting money, a fixed amount of currency, say $300 a month. And you do that every month, regardless of what the price is on that given day. Just say on the 4th of the month, I'm going to set it up. And on the 4th of July, on the 4th of August, on the 4th of September, I'm going to buy $300 worth of Bitcoin. And that way you average in, you buy $300 worth, and whatever the price is that day, you buy $300 worth of it. And after a year, you'll have more than $3,600 worth of value, typically, because no one has ever lost money in Bitcoin over a 4-year period, because it always goes up over that 4-year period. Even if you bought at the peak, if you did the worst timing for the last 3 or 4 peaks, you're still up money in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has been the best performing asset for 11 of the last 14 years. So it's crazy numbers how the growth, and it really reflects the fact that it's an asset and it stores value. It does its job because there's only so much of it, and it's hard to get, and it's an asset and holds its purchasing power. But to answer the question, do you have to buy a whole Bitcoin? No. Can you? Yes, of course you can. You can go and if you're going to buy that much, I would recommend contact me or reach out to us at here on the website and ask for the over the counter because once you get over like $3,000 or $4,000 worth of a purchase, it's probably worthwhile to use an over the counter. It's just like the price is more stable, because if you go on like Coinbase and try to buy a whole Bitcoin, you may actually impact the price because there may not be a full Bitcoin available for sale. So that's something to think about. That if you're buying this, if you're going to buy, like, if you're a big time investor and want to put a lot of money into Bitcoin at once, you're probably going to move the price. But if you go to an over the counter and say, hey, I want to buy 10 Bitcoin, give me a price for it, and they'll go out and they'll source it and they'll aggregate it all for you. They'll charge a fee for it, but it'll be less than the price moves. So that's something to consider. But I went to the other extreme of the big buyer, the small buyers. Most of you out there are small buyers. That's fine. Go on Cash App, buy $205 worth of it on Cash App. Move it to a wallet. Don't have my wallet out here, but you move it to a wallet. Go to the wallet video or how to store your Bitcoin. You move it from Cash App to a wallet. You have it stored. You can set all this automatically to do dollar cost averaging. Every week, every month, every day, whatever you like. But yeah, you don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. You don't have to have $100,000 to get into Bitcoin. You could buy $100 worth, $200 worth. You can dump coins into one of those coin machines at a lot of grocery stores and get that back in Bitcoin. Once you have a wallet, they'll ask you for an address for the wallet, but you could do it. It'll cost probably a fee that's higher than you might think to do that, but you can do it. You could buy less than $100 worth of Bitcoin, but that's what you need to look at the fees. Again, on Cash App, probably want to stick around couple $100 just to minimize the fees, which is like 1 or 2%, but it's nominal in the long term because your purchasing power, you have more purchasing power just from that probably in a couple months, more often than not, than you would if you just worried about the fee so much. So you can buy as little or as much as you want, and there's lots of ways to do it. So if you have questions, reach out to us and we'll talk more. But yes, you could buy just a fraction of a Bitcoin, and quite often that's what most people do. Great question. We'll move on to the next one.